Good morning, all of you. So today we are here into the fourth lecture of your software engineering. So the topic for today is function-oriented design. Function-oriented software design. So in the previous lecture, what we did agile modeling. Then there was a SRS, that is software requirement and specification. And I also introduced you with the designing process, the designing phase of the software. It was just the introduction where I dealt with various aspects of the designing. That what is designing? It is basically making a blueprint of your any product or your software. Then we did modularity approach in the designing, and we did some terms like fan in and fan out. Then also did the two concepts of modularity. One is the cohesion and another is the coupling. We also did types of cohesion and types of coupling. And in the last, I just started the two approaches of designing. So one of the approach of designing was function oriented design, and another approach was object oriented design. So function of oriented design and object oriented design, they are the basically two different approaches through which we can design. The pivot point in function oriented approach is function. We just see how many functionalities, how many functions are required to fulfill all the goals of your software product. What you have deal with the customer, you make a design and design on the basis of what are the different functions required, so that all the things which you have asked by the customer that you will implement for him. So you have to implement all the things, and all the things are implemented with the help of some functions. But in object oriented design, the main thing is the same. You have to deal with the SRS document also, what you have asked by the customer to do. But there is the main pivot point of designing is the object. We take into account the object for which we are designing. Who will be using? What are different types of object that will be using your product? But here, the function oriented approach, the main pivot point is the function. So in this lecture, we will go in depth with this topic of function oriented design or function oriented software design. Clear? So as we said that the designing is of two levels. Designing is done in a two level. One is the high level design and another is the low level design. I will not say it is a low level, but it is a detailed design. In a high level design, we generally see how many modules are there. Means modules on the basis of, if there are there are many modules in your product. So for each module, we have different functions. So all the things are based on a function. Each module is carried out by the functions. So we have to see what type of functions are required to cover up one particular module in a function oriented design. And in a modular approach, it is also the hierarchy, that is the level. So in the level, we say one function is there. We also see what are the different modules which are under that particular modules, and what are the different sub functions which are required to be done. So it comes in a detailed design. And in detailed design, we also look upon what type of data structure is being used and what type of algorithms are being used. So having the same approach of the designing, that the high level and the detailed design. So here also in function oriented approach, we will do the same thing, but the here technique or the concept, what we'll be using in it, it will be the SASD technique. SASD. Now, what is this SA and SD? SA is SA is structured analysis and SD is structured design. So these two concepts are very much important. One is SA and another is SD. And we have to do all the designing, like that thing is also there, that we have to do the high level designing. We have to occupy all the functionalities of your software, and we have to do the detailed design also, where we capture or in detail that what different types of data structure and what different types of algorithm is required in that particular module. So here, and but here the two approach, the different approach is SA and SD. The same thing is there, structured analysis and structured design. So what is difference? What is the purpose of these two designs? So purpose of the structured analysis is to capture the detailed structure of the system as user views it. So here we have to capture the detailed, we have to see what type of, we have to analyze the detailed structure of the software, and it from the what the part of the software that user will be viewing it. That is known as the structured analysis. And in structured design, we arrive at that particular form in, so where the implementation of your design could be carried out through some programming language. So here it is, we can say detailed thing, detailed. It is the detailed thing, it is the high level design in structured analysis type of high level designing, where we see what are the different types of modules, what are the different types of structures which are required, detailed in a detailed way. And we see that it has to be done with the help of user view, what user views. But in a structured design, we try to come to that phase or that situation or that, you can say, environment where whatever you have designed, it could be implemented. It could be implemented through any programming language. So we come to that particular stage in a structured design where whatever you have designed, we have to reach to that particular form which is suitable for implementation in some of the programming language. This is very important thing of structured analysis and structured design. I will give you 5 seconds, just recapture. Just recapture what is structured analysis and what is structured design. So there are many differences about these two. The result of structured analysis can be viewed by the user. What is the result of the structured analysis? It can be viewed by the user. User can understand. It does not require very deep in-depth knowledge of the computer language to understand what is there in the structured analysis. So it is the user view, what user views. So user can understand in a very simple way. So it is done in a very simple way. It directly represents the perception of the problem. It represents the what the problem is, the basic understanding of the problem. What is the basic perception of the problem? It is carried out in structured analysis. The result of this result of structured analysis can be easily viewed by the customer. That customer can see what is being done by your software, and how can we have to analyze that what thing has to be shown to the customer, and it is done in a structured analysis. So clear? So again I say, in structured analysis, first I will cover structured analysis, then the design. We have to see that all the thing, we have to see what are the different types of modules. First of all, what are the, and those modules are, you can say, mapped into the functions. So whatever the modules are there, we have to map the module into the particular type of the function or the group of functions. Again I said, then there will be, we will also see that after having the modules, we have to see all types of modules. Then we have to go in detail. So we have to decompose the modules into further modules, that is the functions into the sub functions. So here the decomposition approach is there in a structured analysis. The approach which is carried out, it is the decomposition approach. So just I will write down this. What approach is followed out? It is a decomposition approach. The decomposition approach is the modularity, the concept of modularity. And what type of decomposition is done? It is top-down decomposition. This decomposition is the top down decomposition, means higher module at the top, then we will make the sub functions, that is the sub module. So it also deal with one of the very common principle, that is the divide and conquer. So divide and conquer principle means we have to see the whole problem as a whole, then we have to divide the main problem into small sub problems, and we have to solve the sub problems separately, then we have to combine the result of all the sub problems, and we find the result of the overall problem. So this is the basic approach of the structured analysis. So how to do the structured analysis? What are the different tools available for the structured analysis? So the main tool which is available for the structured analysis in function oriented software design, that tool is DFD. DFD. So here the pictorial view is done. So DFD is nothing but a simple thing is data flow diagram. Data flow diagram. Suppose there is any software, any product, so it is having the different modules in it. So we have to see our data flows from which module to which module. So it can also have a hierarchical approach because it is a layered designing. So I will just see the modularity approach in the layered designing, and it is hierarchical in nature. So all the things can be depicted in this diagram where the hierarchy is there, different modules are there, layers are there. So this is one thing. So this is the type of structure chart, but what is DFD? It is little bit different. So we have to also see this thing we have to cover in the forms of functions, each module functions and sub functions. So this module, it has to be carried out with some function. This module is the sum function of this module. This is also sub function of this, and so. So the whole design has to be carried out with respect to certain function. It was the modular approach. We have to convert the modular approach in a structured analysis in terms of some function and represent it through the DFD, that is data flow diagram. So suppose there is a one function, there is a second function, there is a third function. Now how the data flows between the different functions. So this is shown with the help of DFD, that is the data flow diagram. So it is an elegant modeling technique, and it is used to represent the structured analysis. So structured analysis process is represented with the help of DFD, that is the data flow diagrams. It is very powerful technique also. I will write the full form first of all. Data flow diagram. So it is a hierarchical graphical flow. It represents the hierarchical flow of the model and data interchange among the processes. It shows all the functions, or we can say all the processes in your software product. So how it has to be done? So it uses some symbols. It suppose it is a diagram. So it is if it is a diagram, it is supposed to use some of the symbols. Those symbols are the basic symbols, and we will see those symbols in coming examples. So the whole symbol, the whole DFD. First of all, the symbols. So it is one is the external entity which is represented by this. This is very important. The circle. Actually, it is known as the bubble. It is known as the bubble. So bubble is there to represent each function or each process. Very important symbol in DFD. So it is also known as bubble or function. This is entity. Rectangular is external entity. Then we have the arrow. Before arrow, I will do one more. This symbol is known as data store. Data store, very important. If the data is being stored, means saved, and after saving, if we have to bring out data for our process, so it has to be represented with the help of data store. So, and this is the arrow. Some other symbols, maybe one of the other symbol is that we will do afterwards. But the main symbol are these. These four will be frequently used in your DFD diagram. So this is the external entity. External entity means, because every system or every product has to have an interface with some external entity. It is being used by some of the entities. What is entity? You know it. You have done in the database also. What is entity? So you will be doing. So entity is anything. What you say the class or the object in a programming language, it is entity in what we are saying about. So any class or object, we represent a class, a group of objects with the help of class. Suppose student, teacher, they all are the entity. Human is the entity. So it is an external entity. So human is using your system. It has got the interface with the what of the software that you are making. So human is the entity. So whatever the functions you represent, you have to represent with the help of the bubble. So there is a connection between the bubble and the entity. Entity has an interface this with function, because this function has to be carried out for certain entity. Some certain entity will be using that particular function, and this data flow is very important. Where the data is flowing, whether it is going into the function or it is coming out of the function. And another thing was the data store or data storage. If your function output has to be stored somewhere, or already there is some data is already stored and we have to take it as an input for your function, it has to be done with the help of this thing, that is the data store. So we will do very important some of the simple DFD diagram. And one thing more about the DFD is always drawn in levels. It is always drawn in level. So what is the level? The levels of the DFD are: first important level is level G. Level 0 DFD. Level 0 it DFD is also known as context diagram. So it is the basic representation of the whole system. Suppose there is some game, any game, it can be tic-tac-toe, any game you are saying, and human plays this game. Human gives some output and game is there. So this is the simplest DFD of any game, representing the whole system. So this DFD is of level 0, and we write in a bubble that it is of level 0. It is of level 0. This DFD is of level 0. We only represent the whole system and any external entity which is interacting with this system. We do not specify other thing. The whole system is represented as a function, because this bubble is used to represent function or bubble. Bubble is the symbol, so it represents some function. So the whole system is represented as a process or a function. So this DFD is of level 0. This DFD is level 0. It's context diagram. There can be any system. I will now write not game, any system. Name of that particular system you can write, and we write the 0. Now, this is the main module. As I said, there is a concept of decomposition, that the module is divided into the further modules. That is, the function is further divided into the sub functions. So now, if this system is doing more, suppose 3 functions, this system is doing 3 functions, then we have to represent, take this, and we want to see what are the 3 functions which are being processed or which are being carried out in this system. So this 0 DFD has to be taken to the higher level. Now that is the level 1. Next level, that is the level 1 DFD. So what will happen I will simply write system. I will not write any game over here. So in the example in a screen, I will share you some screens after my lecture, after 1 hour of my lecture, where I will revise all the things through the screen. And I will also having some poll questions to you and individual questions to you. So just listen to this thing, very important thing of the DFDs, and you will be given in your practicals also to design the DFDs of the different system. Means all the levels of the DFD. Your system may be having 2 level, 3 level, 4 level, or 5 level. So we will also see how many levels should be there for the DFD in a coming time. Next is, suppose this system is performing 3 functions. So we have to draw the 3 bubbles now in a level 1. In a level 1, we have to draw the 3 bubbles. So very important thing is the level 0 DFD is known as the context diagram, because it tells you in which context the system is made. What is the basic context of your system or the project or the software product. So it is also known as context diagram. Just note down. I will give you 2-3 seconds or 5 seconds. Just note down that level 0 DFD is known as context diagram. Write down. Level 0 DFD is known as the context diagram. Suppose in the previous diagram, I have main function of your system was represented as a 0 bubble. So if it is doing the 3 functions, function 1, function 2, and function 3, then we have to separate that bubble into 3 bubbles like this. One bubble for function 1, another bubble for function 2, another bubble for function 3. So it is function 1. Now system 1 is divided. Your system is performing 3 basic functions. 3 basic functions. So we will divide into function 1, function 2, and function 3. Clear? Now this function is of your system's first function. Your system was represented in level 0 DFD, and we have to write in function the 0. But now that 0 level function is divided into the 3 functions. So these will be numbered as 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3. Means main system is divided into 3 main functions of your system. So these are the, but your whole system is represented as 0. So first function of your system will be numbered as 0.1. Another function will be numbered as 0.2. Another function will be numbered at 0.3. So this is level 1 of DFD. It will be having, no doubt, it will be having some external entity also. It will be having some external entity if any function is required to directly interface with interact with the external entity. If there is some data storage is there, then we have to take into consideration the data storage, that output will be stored here. Output of, suppose this is the input to this function, this is the output of this function. This will be stored for the some time. Then it will take input from here and just see. So here output is not stored, but here output of function 1 is stored in somewhere. So this is data stored. This is data stored. But output of function 0.2 is not stored, so it is directly. So if the output, or if the 2 bubbles are directly connected without any data store, I am going to tell some new thing now. Just see. If the 2 bubbles are connected directly without any data store, it is known as synchronous. It is known as synchronous functions or synchronous bubble or synchronous function. But if the output of 2 bubbles, in between these there is some data stored, then it is known as asynchronous. So you can write down synchronous and asynchronous. If the output of if the 2 bubbles are connected without any intermediate data store, then it is known as synchronous. And if there is some data store in between them, then it is known as asynchronous. So up till now, what we have done the DFD, data flow diagram. So it represents the whole system with the help of into the functions. The function is represented by the bubble. Any entity interacting with the bubbles or the functions, it is represented with the rectangular board, that is known as external entity. If any data is generated and that data has to be stored, we represent with the help of data store, and this is the data flow. Flow is represented with the help of arrows. So these main things are there. And what is the, first of all, the overall system is represented with the help of your DFD. That type of DFD where we represent the overall system is known as the level 0 DFD. The another name for level 0 DFD is the context diagram. The another name for level 0 DFD is the context diagram. Then if now your system is doing many functions, so we have to represent that with the help of DFD. So if it is doing 3 functions, like there function 1, function 2 and function 3, but these functions are of your system. So your system bubble was represented by the numbering. We also give the numbering to the bubbles. So that bubble was given a number of 0. Therefore, it is known as the level 0 DFD. Now the next level, that is the level 1. You divide your bubble 0 into the 3 main functions, function 1, function 2 and function 3. So that numbering will be given as 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So what is there with the bubble? Bubble is basically, it represents that a function is there. Bubble represents the function. So there we can name the function also. In the bubble, we write the name of the function, that F1 is the name of the function. F2, you can give any name, that find square. So square function can be there. Average function can be there. Sum function can be there. And it also represented the numbering of the bubble. From the number, we can see it is of level 1. So it is 0 level, it is the 1 level. So after point, the first decimal shows that it is the level 1. Now suppose this F1, F2 and F3 further have any of the one. I will just take F1 or I can take F2. So if F1 or F2 are having further functions, sub functions under them, then we have to take your DFD to the next level. That is the level 2. That is the higher level. We have to take the DFD, represent the DFD with the higher level. So that how we will do. So suppose F1 is further having 3 functions, sub function 1, sub function 2 and sub function 3. So we now F1 individually will have another level. We have to represent with the another. We have to expand. We have to explode your bubble. We have to defactor it. We have to factorize your bubble into 3 factors now. That is representing the sub function under that function. So now the bubble will be SF1, SF2, SF3, or I will name as sub function 1 of function 1, sub function 2 of function 1, sub function 3 of function 1. And numbering, how the numbering was given? Now the numbering, just see the numbering. 0, 1, 0.1.2, 0.1.3, and now we will connect. If some data store is required, then we will make the data store in between like this, and this arrow will be like this. So now see, it says the overall system is represented by the 0 level DFD. The main system was having any number of functions, but here it says it was having a function 1. It is represented by 1. Now this function is further having sub functions 1, 2 and 3. So it is a level 2. From the numbering also, you can see that this numbering tells you that this DFD is of which level. So we will start with the 0. 1 point is there, then it will come to second level, level 1. Another point is there, it is coming to the level 2. So level 0, level 1, level 2. So from numbering, you can see what is the level of your DFD. So is it okay? So this thing is there in a DFD. Now I will give you just 1 minute. You should recall all the things what I have told you, right from the beginning of the function oriented approach, high level design, then the detailed design, structured and algorithms are required in a detailed design. In high level, we just see what are the basic functions, what are the basic modules. Then we have the tool to represent them. It is done with the help of SASD approach. We have started with the structured analysis. Here we will decompose the system, and it is in the from the user's point of view. User can see, and we represent with the help of data flow diagram different levels of the DFD. Level 0 is known as the context diagram. Then there is the naming of all the bubbles. Bubbles represent the function. Then after there is the numbering. I give you 1 minute. Just recall all the things in your mind. I will start further now. So if there is data store, then it is asynchronous operation. If there is no data store between the bubbles, then it is a synchronous operation. So I will share the screen, what we have done up till now, and I will first of all go for one pole of SASD. Then I will share the screen. So I'm going to launch the pole 1. So I think I should go with the pole at the end. First of all, I should share the screen now. So I start with the introduction. That is the function oriented design technique was there. So start with the function requirement specified in the SRS document. Means what happens, whatever there we have specified in a SRS document. So we represent it with the help of function oriented design. We have to take care of what we have said there. So we have to represent in your blueprint of your software product during the function designing. So are you viewing the screen or it's some problem? Yes, yes. No, screen is there also, Madhuman. Just see. You can see the screen. The whole screen is there. Okay. So screen is there. So during the design process, high level functions are successively decomposed into more detailed functions. That is the top down decomposition. So I will be little bit fast because I have already done. I have told you during my lecture. So finally the detailed function are mapped to a module structure. So output of the SD, that is the software design, it is the module structure. After the software design whatever is done in software analysis, I have told you what will be done in software design. I will also tell you that thing also. But in software design, what happens? The output of the software design is the module structure, which is also known as software architecture. So module structure or the software architecture. You just note down this thing. So what we do in a software architecture or the software design, we make your whole design into, bring it into that form where it can be implemented with the help of certain programming language. So software analysis, there we talk about the DFDs, but in software design, we talk about the module structure. It is the structure design. It is not software design, it is the structure design where the functions of analysis process are mapped onto the module structure. And module structure is also known as the software architecture. Yes, ma'am. Next slide. So overview of SASD. SASD methodology consists of two distinct activities. One is the structured analysis and another is the structured design. Already done. During structured analysis, functional decomposition takes place and the approach is top-down approach. And during the structured design, module structures are formalized. What happens in structured analysis? We transform the textual problem, which is given in SRS document also, into the description, into the graphical model. And that graphical model or graph is known as the data flow diagram. Just see what is DFD. DFD is the data flow diagram. It is used to graphically represent the structured analysis. And structured design, all the functions represented in the DFD, they are mapped onto the module structure, and that module structure is also known as the software architecture. You can write these two lines. In structured analysis, it is done with the help of DFD, and software design, structured design, there is a module structure which is known as software architecture. Then there is a detailed design, which is the software, which is done in a software architecture itself, where we see what are the different types of structure data types are required and what different types of algorithms are there, and we make it to that form where the whole thing can be implemented with the help of any conventional programming language. So there is a difference between structured analysis and design that I've already told you. So just repeat once again, purpose of structured analysis is to capture the detailed structure of the system as the user views it. And structured designing is arriving at the form that is suitable for implementation in some programming language. The result of structured analysis can easily be understood even by ordinary customers. They do not need any computer knowledge. They can understand looking into the structured analysis, looking into the DFDs, that what is being done, what is the system from level 0. They can come to know the name of the system and what is the overall context of the system is. From the level 1, they can see how many sub functions are there. The main functions of your system are there. They are represented in a level 1. And those functions, main functions of the system, if they have further sub functions, then they will see from the next high level DFD diagram. And they are very easily, because why we say directly represent customer perception of the problem. So they have, because customer have specified what they required in their SRS, and the main basis of structured analysis or the function designing is your SRS. Whatever written in SRS in textual form, it is converted into the DFD. So uses customer's terminology, because customer have given some terminologies during his requirement. So the name of the function basically is done according to the terminologies which were given by the users. The result of structured analysis is very easy to be seen, and the based on principle that I was already told you, top-down decomposition approach, and through which we can divide and conquer principle, that one function is further divided into the sub function. We try to conquer the sub function. We find the result of the sub function, combine them, and see the overall result of your problem. So the data flow diagram are also known as bubble charts, because function is represented with the help of circle, which is basically known as the bubble. DFD, it is an elegant modeling technique. You know about now, up till now, what I have told. So useful not only to represent the result of the structured analysis, but they are applicable to other areas also. Not only the software designing, other also, like for showing the flow of the documents or the flow of the data into the organization, how the data are the items flow from one module to another module in an organization. It is very popular and it is very powerful, very simple and very easy to use. Data flow diagram, just see, it has the hierarchical approach because in the modular approach, what we say, some top-down decomposition is there. Then obviously it is a layered design. There will be the hierarchical approach. One module is at the top, then the child modules and further child modules. So it represents the hierarchical. If there is level 0, then next level is level 1, next level is level 0.1, then 0.1.1. So data interchange among the process, we can view in your DFDs that how the data is being interchanged in the process or your system. It is useful to consider each function as a processing station. So that processing station is represented with the help of the bubble. That is therefore it is known as the bubble chart. So your function or the bubble may require some input, which is given as the input data, and output, whatever the result it produces, it is represented as the output data. DFD model use very small, only I told you 4 to 5 symbols only. It has simple set of rules and it is very easy to understand. So this is the simple, just see, simple data flow model for a car of a unit system. So what is the main functions of the car? Main function is fit the engine, then fit the doors, then fit the wheels, and then paint and test. So your car is ready. So, but to fit the engine, we need something from the engine store. So engine store is the data store. We also need the chassis from a chassis store. So chassis store is the data store. From engine store and chassis store, you required something, you required chassis and you required the engine. Chassis is given to you from the chassis store. Engine is given to you from the engine store. You combine, you fit the engine. So fitting of engine is one of the basic function of it. So it is, from this, you can see it is not a level 0 diagram. It is a level 1 diagram. Here it is just given in an example. We will see further examples where we will specify that here you cannot see from this diagram that it is level 1, level 0, level 2, level 3. So this was the simple diagram what I have given to you where some information is missing. So that information, therefore we number the bubble. From numbering of the bubble, you can come to know that it is the level 0 diagram or it is the level 1 diagram. So then main function was the fitting of the doors. So you require the door, you get the door from the door store. So it is a data store. Door store is a data store. Then we have to fit the wheels. It has to be gained from the wheel store. And finally your car is assembled. Then you have to paint the car and test and drive the car. But here I have not numbered the bubble. So this, therefore I am saying you that this will be carried in the next example. From the example you can see from the diagram that it is the level 0 or level 1. So these are the primitive symbols which we have already done. We will do each symbol one by one. Next. So external entity symbol, just if we have the software for the library, so librarian is there who will use this software. We will interact with the whole library process. So external entity, which is not the entity of the system, but they are using the system, they are interacting with the system, they are represented with the help of external entity symbol. In my diagram, I have shown you the game and player was the human player was the external entity. And external entity is also known as terminator, source, or sink. Just remember this line. So in the diagram, it may be written not the entity, but it may be written terminator, source, or sink. Function symbol, very important symbol. The main DFD is dependent upon this symbol. We have done example. I have shown you in level 0 there was a single bubble. In level 1 I have divided into 3 main functions. The 3 bubbles were there. In level 2 also function was further divided into 3 sub functions. So there were 3 bubbles for 3 sub functions. So this is also known as process, bubble, or transform. Means after having the function, we transform from one stage to the another stage, one form to the another form. And just remember, while naming I said the function or the bubble has name and the number. For naming the bubble, you must have some verbs, because verb जिसको हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं क्रिया. So what is something is being done. So in function like here see, the function is search book, means book is being searched through this function. Next, data flow symbol, it is simply through the arc. It can be a straight line, it can be a straight line, or it can be arc like this also. It can be straight line or it can be the arc, which is known as the flow symbol. Means data is being flow from this direction to this direction, and it is a directed one, where you can see that the data is being flowing from which end to which end. Next, very important, data store. If your any function generates some data and you want to store that data, then it has to be stored in a certain file. That certain file is known as the data store, and it requires some storage area. Suppose there is a book, book is having a details, so all the details has to be stored in a particular file. That file is the logical file, and it may be using some data structure. So it is represented in your DFD with the help of data store symbol, which is the two horizontal lines, and in between the lines the name of the data store or the name of the file was there. As in a previous diagram, like there was the engine store, there was the chassis store, there was the wheel store. So data store symbol, it is means flow from which data store to which function we are moving. So this symbol shows you this direction of data flow arrow. Just see, from books to find book. If you want to find some book, then you should have some book number. Which book you want to find? Who is the author of that particular book? What is the name? What is the title of that particular book which you want to find? That you will get from the data store, that is book. So output produced to the system. So this is the output is there. So these are very simple. Synchronous operation, I told you, when there is a no data store in between the two bubbles, it is known as the synchronous operation. Just see, there is a 0.1 and 0.2 bubble. 0.1 bubble is named as read numbers. 0.2, the main function of 0.2 bubble is validating the numbers which has been read. So these are not, means whatever the number you get from the user, get from entered by the read number, they are directly given to the validation unit or the validation function. So in between they are not stored anywhere. Asynchronous operation. Next. So just see, if number is read, we store that number before validating, then we need a data store. So here the data store, name of the data store is the numbers. So you are reading the number, first you are storing them, then from that storage, that particular file, then you again take the number, is taken by the validate function, then it validates. So there is data store in between the two bubbles. So it is a asynchronous operation. So how the structured analysis is performed? That we have already done. Initially represent the software at the most abstract level, that what your system does, what is the context of your system. So it is represented with the help of the level 0 DFD, which is also known as the context diagram, where the entire system is represented by the single bubble. Like we did one example where I named the bubble as the system. So that system can be a game. So you can write down the game. Next. Just see, this is the example like what I was saying. Now the game is the tic-tac game, tic-tac-toe game. So here human is the player, that is the external entity. So just see, the whole system, the whole game is represented with the help of single bubble, that is the tic-tac-toe software, where human interacts. It is the external entity. So there is a single bubble and it is a level 0 DFD. The context diagram shows main thing about the system, that actually what it shows the main bubble, single bubble, which represents your system. It may have some input, it may have some output, and whatever the external entities are interacting with your system, it is also represented in a level 0 DFD or context diagram. Again and again I am saying level 0 DFD is known as the context diagram. Next, that is level 1. Like our system, what our system is doing, what are the main functions of the system. So the main high level functions of your system have to be represented in the level 1 DFD, where for each high level function, we represent each high level function with the help of one bubble. So each function is used to represent one bubble. So every bubble can have a data input and data output. Again, if your main functions are further having sub functions, then we have to decompose them into sub functions, and these are represented in a next higher level DFDs, where we identify all the sub functions of your main function. Then we name those sub functions. Then we identify what are the inputs are required to that each sub function, and what will be the output generated by each sub function. So these are represented with the higher level DFD. So it is basically the decomposition. What we have already done, that we do the decomposition, that is the top down decomposition, where a function is further divided into the sub functions. So this decomposition process is also known as factoring or exploding. I have already used this term earlier also, factoring or exploding. Now the question is, how many sub functions should be there? Each bubble is described. It is good to decompose the each bubble between 3 to 7 bubbles. Otherwise, redundancy will take place. So we will see in what are the shortcomings or some guidelines of the. And one thing I want to tell you, I have this is very, you can say, short PPT, because I am speaking all the things I am speaking. So you may not capture afterwards. So I have uploaded the detailed PPT. I have uploaded the detailed PPT, the whole lecture on your ERP portal, and I have also uploaded the PDF notes also, so you can go from there also. So if the bubbles are very few, it make the superfluous, means redundancy is there. Few bubble, and you have to represent all the functions again, so redundancy will be there. And if the bubbles are very much more than 7, it will help in very difficult to understand the your PPT, because then each bubble may further be having many sub functions, so it will be a very vast diagram. One example more, what I have done now, this is the example. So we will try to make the 2 levels of DFD for this example. So the example is, consider a software called RMS calculating software. Just read that. It reads 3 integers in the range of 1000, that is minus 1002 plus 1000. It find out the root mean square RMS of the 3 input numbers and display the result. So main system, what is the name of your main system is, just see, I will just show in my diagram. So the main system or the main process is RMS software. It will be having input and it will be displaying the output. If there's some, and to whom we have, who is interacting, it can be represented with the help of the external entity. So the main thing is RMS software, and this will be the level 0. Yes, sir. Next. Just see. So here, any user is there. So it is given other way. So I will give here all the data items. Means 3 items are required. 3 numbers 1, 2, 3. That will be given to the your RMS software, which will compute the, so the name of the, so what he has given the name, the verb name, that is compute RMS. The 3 integers will be given and it will display the output. But how? Now this bubble has to be exploded. This bubble has to be further exploded. That we have to see how we have to find the RMS, because here first function is we have to read all the numbers. Then we have to also validate that numbers whether they are between 1000 to plus 1000, because the condition was given in a problem that your number should be between minus 1000 to 1000. So first step is to get the 3 numbers. Next function is we have to validate the 3 numbers. After validation, just see the next level, that is level 1 of the DFD. So it is in front of your screen. So what are the different functions is, first read the bubble, read the numbers. I will very short in like Rn. Then we have to validate the numbers, Vn. Then we have to compute the RMS value. Then we have to compute the, we have to see the error. Now error or display the result. I will say displays. Sorry, I have written error here. So first of all, number will be read. So data items are read. So we have to read 3 numbers. Just see, it is level 1 DFD because 0 has already been done. So numbering will be 0.1. The main first function is. Then this number will be entered to the validating process, whose number is 0.2, will validate. So if your number is between -1000 to 1000, then it will send the numbers for the computing of RMS. If it is not, then it will result in a error and display the error. If the numbers are valid, RMS will be calculated at 0.3 and result will be displayed by 0.4, where you will get the result or the output. Result or the output. What it is sending? It is sending the RMS. But if your number is not between -1000 to 1000, then it will be error and it will display the error. Next is, now we have to explore this bubble, compute RMS. What happens in compute RMS? First of all, we have to calculate the square sum, then we have to calculate the mean, and then we have to calculate the root. So this is the thing, no? Think of root mean square, x square plus y square plus z square. So we have to square, we have to sum them, then we have to find the square root. So many processes are there. First thing is you calculate the square sum. So this is first thing. Calculate the, then you find the means, then you divide by all the things, find the mean, then you find the root, mean also there, then you find the root. So 3 processes are there. So this bubble of level 1 is exploded or factored into 3 more bubbles. It is shown in level 2 DFD. We started with 0, then level 1, now we are at the level 2. So which bubble was exploded? 0.3 was exploded. So here see the numbering is 0.3.1, 0.3.2 and 0.3.3. If this bubble would have been exploded, suppose this bubble is exploded, then the numbering of next level will be 0.1.1, 0.1.2, 0.1.3. अगर इसको explode करते, the numbering would be 0.2.1, 0.2.2, 0.2.3. But here this is being exploded, so therefore the numbering is 0.3.1, 0.3.2 and 0.3.3. So from different levels of the DFD, you can see what is the main, what is the overall system, then what are the main functions in level 1 and what are the sub functions in level 2. Yes, next. Very important thing. Now suppose now this 0.3.1, ma'am, previous come to previous slide. Come to previous slide, ma'am. Madhu, ma'am. Previous. Now see here. Calculate the squared mean. Now we will explore 0.3.1. So therefore we will be exploding here. Just see here. This. Now we are exploring the 0.3.1 also. So whole number, first number is taken by the another function, that is A. Another is taken by the another function, that is B. Third number is taken and square is done. Now the square is done by the separately. First number is taken and its square is done. Second number is taken, square. Third number is taken, then the sum of the square is done. So it is, we are exploring the 0.3.1 of the previous diagram. So it is the level 3 DFD now. How you come to know? Just see the numbering. First is 0. It is level 0. Point. After point, 1 decimal, 1 number comes. It becomes to level 1. Then point. Then another decimal comes. It comes to level 2. Then point. Then another decimal number comes. It comes to level 3. So there From the DFD, we can see that it is main function, main system, then there was a function, then in main one function, there was sub function, then in that particular sub function, there was further a sub function. Therefore, we reach to the level 3. So one important, this is the RMS about the DL. Along with the DFD, what we have the data dictionary. Because what it does, data dictionary is also known as the metadata also. It have all the different details of your DFD. What are the different terminologies being used? What are the different names of different elements or the components you are using your DFD. So it is a data dictionary or the metadata where all the data of your DFD is accompanied in a data dictionary. So it lists all the items appear in a DFD. It also uses some definition of all the data item in your DFD can be elementary or the composite. So it can define, it can also have the data definition where you see what are the composite data items. Importance of data dictionary, main importance is because otherwise a different user give different name to different data items. They give different name to different functions. So it will be little bit typical if we are using the different user, because I said structured analysis is viewed by the user. So if user is using that, so if each user can give the different name, so different names are given, so it is not suited. So data dictionary contains all the names, so all will be using the same DFD and all the vocabulary is the same, what we want to say. So data dictionary will be using the vocabulary. So it is also importance, and if the DFD is very large, very different levels of DFD, very many functions are there, then obviously your data dictionary will also be very large. Next. So if your data dictionary becomes very large, it is very, you can say, difficult for a programmer or the main software expert to name all the data items. To support him, there is a software tool which is known as the case tool, that is the computer aided software engineering tools which come handy to them. They capture all the data items which are appearing in a DFD automatically and generate the data dictionary. Just remember this thing about case tools. They automatically capture all the data items which are appearing in a data dictionary. So case tools support queries, they help in, and one important thing is query handling is facilitated. If the data, last line, if the data dictionary is stored in a relational database management system, then the query can be handled very easily. So data definition, if there are composite items, elements, then we have to define some symbols are used where a plus shows that it is represented by the two objects. Then selection, if there are many selections, then we have a braces, and inside we have the comma. Comma represent one of the points, like A and B represent. For example, in the last line, see A comma B. It means either you have to represent A or B. Next. Next slide. So if only the parenthesis is there, it means contents inside the bracket represent the optional data, which may or may not appear. Then is the curly braces, it shows iterative data definition, means whatever written is there, it is represented with some numeric values there. Suppose name 5, it represents 5 name data items. So data definition for different data items is there, which helps the user to see and which supports the DFD. Next. So just see the data dictionary of your RMS software, what we have already done. I will stop here for 10 to 15 seconds. I will stop here. You can go through this. Next important thing is balancing the DFD. This important thing is in any level. We have seen in labs what this slide says. Let me tell you, very important thing is balancing the CFD. So suppose it is any level of the DFD. It is any level of the DFD. And in this level, this is any function is any bubble is there. So it is having one input and two output. One input and two output. Now suppose in the next level of this DFD, in the next level, this function is exploded into two bubbles. Two bubbles. Then if it is exploded into two bubbles, what we will do? We have to see that the overall now, this is, we are representing this one bubble into the two bubble. And in this one particular bubble, there was one input and two output. So this is one input and just I will stop for a while. So balancing of DFD, you may have attention on the board here. So if this is the bubble is there, it is having one input and two outputs. So in this, if we have explored this bubble into two, then overall output should be two only and overall input should be one. So this is very important. Just see in the diagrams coming. So just see in this diagram, there is a P3 bubble. So this P3 bubble have C as the input, D and E as the output in level 1. P3 is having C as the input, D and E as the output. So this is exploded into three bubbles, that is 3 means it has having three sub functions, P 3.1, 3.2 and 3.3. So what we will do now? So here we see in overall from the upper top of the system. I will just use the screen here. So see, input is C and output is D and E. So in between, you are using different inputs and outputs which are given the different numbered D1, C1, E1. But C should be there because in a previous level, there was C. There was the C as the input. So in this level also, C should be termed as the input. And D and E were the output. So in this level also, D and E should be the output. So this is what we say the balancing of the DFDs. Then the numbering of bubbles, very important. Numbering of bubbles tell you at what level you are having. And how we start the numbering? We start with 0, then 0.1, then 0.11, then 0.12. That is, it also shows the decomposition. Next. So bubbles, the numbering also shows the decomposition. Suppose the tic-tac-toe game, computer game. So next example, we have done the RMS example, now the tic-tac-toe example. So what that game is, you know about that particular game, that it is a 3 into 3 square. One will mark as a cross, another will mark as a circle. So we have to occupy three consecutive space horizontally, vertically or diagonally. And if one is able to number three vertically or horizontally, then what will happen? We have to do the person wins. So you know about the tic-tac-toe game. Next. So tic-tac-toe game, computer game. So as soon as what is game, you know. Now we have to make the DFD of this tic-tac-toe game. Just let's see in the next diagram. So level 0 DFD. Level 0 DFD. So it is a by chance I have also made in my example the game as an example. So it is a tic-tac-toe. It is a level 0 software. It is a level 0. It is a human plays, or you can write a human or a player, whatever you want to say. It goes with the move, and the result is display. Or display the result, you can write display. So this is the overall, it is the level 0 or the context diagram of tic-tac-toe. Now this many things is being done here. So it will be exploded now. When it is exploded, we will enter the level 1. Next, just see. So what are the different main functions of the game? The main functions are the first display the board, then validate the move by the customer. If any user player plays the move, we have to validate. Suppose in my turn I have to use cross, but I am using circle, so it will not be validated. So validation is also important. Suppose I have already made a cross here, and next time again I am making a cross over it. So it is also not validating. So validating a move is also required. So this 0 of the previous level, the 0 level DFD you can see in a whiteboard. Next level DFD you can see in my screen. So 0 is exploded into 0 0.1, 0 0.2 validate, then 0 0.3 that is the play, and 0 0.4 is the checking of the movements. And in between, whatever the thing we are writing, the this symbol, this 0. Now it is being stored somewhere. It is being stored and it is stored on a display board. So display board act as a data store. Display board act as a data store, and it is attached with all the, you can say, functions. It is attached with the display board. Obviously, it will be the first function. It will be displaying. Then validate the move. To validate, it will look onto the display board. It will get the data from a display board. So it is also attached. We have to check the winner. We have to play the move. So this is the level 1. So if you want some more levels of these things, you can make a higher level of the DFD. Next. So data dictionary of this thing is, one is display, move, board, game, result. So this is the data dictionary of your tic-tac-toe software. In the slides, what I have given you, I have given you one problem. I have just shown the context diagram of that problem. That is the trading house automation system, where many entities are there. Entities are manager, customer, and purchase department is there. So the problem statement is given. So this I give you as an assignment now. So you will go into that and solve that problem yourself. So I have given you the whole PPT. I have made all the levels of level 0, level 1, level 2 of this particular problem, that is the trading house automating system. But before looking into that particular PPT, I would like you yourself, first of all, read the problem statement. After reading the problem statement, you yourself try to make the different level of DFDs. No doubt, in my presentation, what I have uploaded, I have solved it. All the slides are there. Level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3. But what I would like that first of all, you read the problem statement and try yourself that how to make the DFDs of further level. And this is one thing what I want to tell. You might be having different types of DFDs because you perceive something different and another user perceive something different. Sometimes you can divide a function into sub function, or sometimes other people suppose average. So one user can divide into 2 sub functions like plus and then divide, and one user can do in a same manner, that plus as well as divide in a one function. So it may be different, but you should try yourself. So I have also drawn the level 1. So what are the orders? So you should go through this. I have only told you that this type of problem I have given you in your presentation, which I have uploaded. You will go through this in the next lecture, I will ask you the question on this also. And I will also have a poll on the basis of this in the next lecture. So what is the observation of today is, from the above examples, we observed that DFDs help to create data model and the function model. It tells us what are the basic functions which are going to be used in your overall system and what data is required. Also the flow of the data. There are some shortcomings of the DFD. What those shortcomings are? Just see, just go through. DFD leave ample scope to be imprecise. Means it is not very precise. One example I have already told you, that suppose average function is there. So one can represent it in a one function and another user can represent in a two functions. In first, it is adding the three numbers, and in another, it is dividing the result sum of the three numbers. So in DFD model, we infer about the function performed by the bubble from its label. So whatever is written on a label, we just imagine that this is being done just in a label. Suppose I will show the trading example in a previous slide. For trading house system, suppose level 0 is there, manager is there, customer is there, purchase department is there. So can you imagine that what different types of function will be carried out by the trading house system? Yes, you can imagine. But one user will imagine three functions, another user will imagine four functions, another may imagine five functions. So this is the different thing. You cannot imagine in real. You only see the label, what is label, and what is written on the function. We just get to go about that through that label only. So it is little bit sometimes difficult to see what all the functions, because we cannot name all the functions sometimes. A label may not capture all the functionality of the bubble. If we want to capture all the functionality of the bubble, the name of the bubble will very vast. Next is control information, previous slide only. Control information is not represented. For instance, order in which inputs are consumed and outputs are produced is not specified. There are many bubbles. To start from where, which bubble will be one first of all to do. So it is not specified. From where input is coming, from where output, so it is not specified. So it is not specifying the synchronization. And next is any clear guidance as how to exactly one should go about decomposing. What I was saying, see, one bubble has to decompose into how many sub bubbles. It is just an subjective judgment of the person. So it depends upon a, so one person can explode a bubble into two bubbles. One person can explode a bubble into the three or four. So this is what there is a shortcoming of the DFD. Next. So there, this was all about the DFD. So many advantages are there, more advantages are there. It is a pictorial view. Now we come to the second portion. We have completed the structured analysis. Now I will come to the structured design. I will ask some questions. Are you understanding up till now or not? Khushpreet Kaur, unmute yourself. Khushpreet,
Yes, sir.
are you getting my voice?
Yes, sir.
Khushpreet, tell me what we have done up till now.
Sir, we have started function-oriented software design, in which we have done SAST,
Okay.
and then we have done DFD.
Okay.
Then we have done
Yes,
data.
yes. Next, Paras. Paras, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Paras, what is full form of DFD?
Data flow diagram.
Data flow diagram. And what is this term? It is SA and SD, full form of SA and SD.
SA full form is structure design. ST full form is structure design, and SA full form is structured analysis.
DFD comes under structure analysis or structure design?
It is structure analysis.
Okay. And what comes under the structure design? I have told you in the beginning.
In structure design, like
Okay. Last question. What is data dictionary?
data dictionary,
Why we use data dictionary?
to store the data.
Of whose? Whose data is stored in a data dictionary? Yes, yes. Come on. Paras, come
Functions.
on. Let me ask Naspreet. Unmute. Naspreet.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Naspreet. What is data dictionary?
Hello.
What is data dictionary?
Yes, sir.
What is data dictionary? I will only asking for 1 minute, then I will start with the structure design. What is data dictionary? Yes? No answer? You are not listening? There is a Shubham Gopalka. Shubham, unmute yourself.
I should be again. Hello, sir. Hello,
Is there?
sir. Your voice is not heard.
All are getting Madhu ma'am, my voice is not.
No, sir. बिल्कुल slowly. एक मिनट, sir.
He's saying he's
Yes,
getting.
sir.
I am getting your voice. Shubham,
Yes, sir.
tell me, what is another name?
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही, सर बहुत कम आ रही है, सर.
What is another name for level 0 DFD? What is another
Name of level 0. Sir, context diagram.
आ गया तो आपको आवाज.
सर आपकी आवाज वापस चली गई.
There is Samriddhi. Samriddhi, unmute yourself.
यस सर.
Are you getting my voice?
सर बहुत स्लो आ रही है सर आपके पास.
Now, are you getting my
यस
voice?
सर. यस सर.
Okay. Samriddhi, tell me, what is another name for dividing, decomposing a bubble?
Can you please repeat the
Decomposing a
question?
bubble is also known as. Decomposing of bubble is also known as.
Sir, factoring or exploding?
Very good. Yes, it is factoring or exploding.
Exploding.
So I will mute all of you again, and I will go further with the structured design. So we have done the structured analysis. Now we are to structured design. In structured design, whatever structured analysis, whatever has been performed in a structured analysis, we represent it through the DFDs. And now we have to map all those functionalities into the modules. So therefore, this structured design will result in a type of chart which is known as structured chart, and that structured chart will be comprising of the modules. Therefore, it is also known as module chart or the module architecture, and another name for this is the structured chart or software architecture itself. So we have to map those, whatever the things which are shown in a DFDs, we have to map those into the modules, and it is carried out in a structured design. Next. So structured chart, it represents, and what is done, we make a chart in such a manner so that we make a chart in such a form that it should be easily implementable using some programming languages. So main focus of structure chart is define the module structure of a software and also show what are the interaction among the different modules. So procedural aspect is there, how a particular function is received are not represented, but what is the procedure is being followed, it is shown there. How it is going at the back end, it is not shown. But what is going, it is shown. So basic building blocks of the structure chart is a rectangular box where the main function or the main module is specified like process order. Next, annotation is done inside the rectangular box. Next, madam. Then arrows are there. Suppose there are one module is there, then that is the root. It is having 3 further modules: process order, handle indent, handle query. So rectangular box are shown, are used to represent the module here. Next. So simple approach is there. This is what we have been doing up till now. Simple, just see on a board. There is the main module is there. Then all the modules are there. Next important is arrow. Arrow is used to show the flow, data flow. That data is being flown from this order to this order, or suppose we have made the modularity here, but the data flows this way. Then we will show it like this. Data flow. Library modules. You have done inbuilt functions in many C and C++ language. So inbuilt functions are those functions which are used very frequently. They are already stored in your system. Those are the inbuilt functions. So if your modular or chart structure chart have involved some inbuilt functions, then it is represented with the help of this symbol. So it tells you the inbuilt functions or inbuilt, like power function, square root function in any mathematical system. So square root, power, they are called very frequently. So they will be represented by this if it is a inbuilt one. Very important thing. See what is this diamond here. If different modules are connected with the diamond box in between it. This diamond box, it shows the selection. It shows the selection that from this, either this will be selected, or this will be selected. Suppose there is some order from the chairman. Now we have to see this order is for office members, this order is for teacher, this order is for students, or this order is for principal. So if some process is there and it is not for all, it is for one of them, and at different moment it can be for other members. Suppose principal now is interacting, he has sent some data, but at this moment principal is there, he interacts with you student also, he interacts with teacher also. Suppose I will say principal is there, he also interacts with the student. Suppose I will not make this decision box. He interacts with student, he interacts with teachers, he interacts with the office members. So if he gives some order, then at this moment that order will go here also, here also, here also. But all orders are not for everybody. Some order is for teacher, some order is for student, and some order for office. But at different times, principal interact with student also, teacher also, and office member also. But at particular moment, particular order is for one person, then that type of thing is represented with the diamond box. Diamond box. So if order is here, then we have to see either it go for student, it goes for the teacher, or it goes for the office person. Repetition. Repetition is shown with the help of this. Means these modules can be repeated many times. A loop, it is a loop. Earlier it was a diamond box where the selection was shown, but here the loop is there, so it shows the repetition. A loop around control flow arrows denotes that the concerned module are involved repeatedly. Next one. So structure chart. So there is only one module at the top, which is known as the root module. It may have many modules under it, and it also represents the control relationship through the arrows. What are the control relationship between the different modules? Very important thing, just note, there is at most one control relationship between any two modules. Means if there are two modules, in module A and B, if module A is invoking B, then B will not invoke A. This is known as the control relationship. So your structure chart can also represent the control relationship. So if module A invokes module B, then module B cannot invoke module A. It is a means if a chairman can give order to principal, then principal cannot give order to chairman. Principal gives order to teachers, teachers cannot give order to principal. So this type of process is also there. So it is shown with the help of, it is represented with the help of control relationship. Next. The principle of abstraction is shown in a structure chart that does not allow lower level modules to invoke higher level modules because it is a layered type of scene. It is a hierarchical design. So we have to see that thing. But two high level modules can invoke the same lower level modules. Next. So there is an example, one more example of the structure chart. Just see root is there. Then there is the one module of get root data, then compute the solution, then display the solution. And in get root data, there is further get data and validate. Validate data is being invoked by two higher level modules. So two higher level modules can invoke the lower level modules, but the lower level modules cannot invoke the higher level modules, but they can pass the data. They can pass the data, but they cannot invoke. So this is the bad design where the lower level module is invoking the higher level module. See, M4 is invoking M2, M5 is invoking M1, M6 is invoking higher level M3. So it is not allowed here. So this is the bad design. So shortcomings are, as there were the shortcomings for DFD, there are shortcomings for structure chart also. So by looking at a structure chart, we cannot say whether a module calls another module just once or many times. How many times it has called. From the loop, we can say that it is calling, but we cannot say how many times it is calling. Also, by looking at a structure chart, we cannot tell the order in which the different modules are involved. Means it is invoking first this one or this one. The order of invoking is also not known to the structured chart. Next. So therefore, we also sometimes, I'm just doing as a sake, we also use the flow chart. Some of the shortcomings of DFD and some of the shortcomings of the structure chart are removed in a flow chart. So you know about the flow chart. The flow chart tell you about what the condition is there, where the data is flowed, and at which order different modules or different functions will be involved. So this is the benefit of the flow chart. But in your, we are using only the DFD and the structure chart. So where the question can arise, sir, agar ye problem hai, so from where what we can do? So some of the experts may also use the flow chart. The flow chart shows whole process, which process comes first, which afterward, and so. And if there is a loop there, then loop is also shown, and there is a diamond box where condition is given. So we come to know how many times the loop will be there, and with the conditions we can specify, and we can see this will be called or this will be called. It will depend upon the condition specified in a diamond box of the flow chart. So you are all familiar with the flow chart. So just see this example. A is equal to B. It can have answer yes or it can have answer no in a diamond box. First of all, A is equal to B. So this is the thing which we do in a flow chart. The shortcomings of DFD and that structure chart are removed in a flow chart, but they both have their own, you can say, advantages. They represent the system into the levels, but flow chart, there is a disadvantage. Flow chart does not represent the system into the different levels as DFD is able. Level 0 DFD, level 1 DFD, level 2 DFD. So you cannot see this thing in a flow chart, that flow chart of level 1, flow chart of level 2. So there are some shortcomings of flow chart also. Next. So this is the comparison between the flow chart and the structure chart. It is very easy. You can go through it. So a structure chart differs from a flow chart in three principal ways. First, it is difficult to identify modules of a software from its flow chart representation. So this is the disadvantage of flow chart now. Data interchange among the module is not represented in a flow chart. Though flow chart tell you the what flow will be there, but these are the shortcomings of the flow chart now. So there are different tools. So at what level, which tool is suitable? This is the expert judgment. We have to see where we have to represent the whole system with the help of flow chart, where we have to represent the whole system with the help of structure chart, and where we have to represent the whole system with the help of the DFD. Next, there will be some. So this is what this was the poll now. So I have to see there is some technical problem. Poll is not there. I will just see for 1 minute. If it initiates some poll is involved, I will wait for 1-2 minutes. For that moment, I will ask you some questions if there is some doubt from you. Sorry. Let us see if there is some poll. There is some technical problem. So poll is not being launched today. So the poll of this session, this lecture will also be launched in the next lecture in the beginning. So be ready. So in the next lecture, you will be having more polls, 4 polls of this lecture, and what lecture we will be delivering next time. Next time we will be going with the second part of the designing. 2 approaches were there for the designing. One was with the help of function oriented. Another was the object oriented. So in the next part, in the next lecture, we will complete the object oriented. And as we complete the object oriented approach, we will be over with the part 1 and part 2 of your syllabus. Means 50% syllabus will be completed, and I will be also giving you the assignment. So I will also be giving you the assignment as we complete the part 2, and it is the next lecture, that is the next Wednesday, we will complete the part 2. Part 1 and part 2 means 50% syllabus will be completed. So actually it is seen that we are having the 4 lectures, but these 4 lectures are of 2 hours each. So therefore it is the thing. Now I will ask some questions to you. Varisha Hussain,
Yes,
just
sir.
unmute. Are you
I
getting
have
my voice?
unmuted. Yes, sir.
So how was the lecture today, Varisha?
It was good.
Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Was it easy or difficult?
It was easy.
Okay. So can you in very short, in 1 minute, tell me what we have done today?
Yes, sir.
Just name the topics.
Sir, SAST.
Okay. First of all, what is
Then,
the
hello, sir.
yes? What is the name of the chapter?
Function-oriented software design.
Yes, very good. So what we have done in this?
We have done SAST, structured analysis, structured design, then DFD. DFD is drawn in levels.
Okay.
Then we have done all the levels like level 1, level 2.
Okay.
Then balancing a DFD.
Good.
Then structured design, structure chart.
Okay.
All these. We have done examples like of TICTO and car
Good.
and data dictionary.
Data dictionary. Very good.
Yes, sir.
So it gives us confidence also that you are listening to us. So this
Yes,
is the
sir.
thing that you all must do. I will ask some more other students also, either they are getting. There is Sunny Sharma. Sunny Sharma, unmute yourself. Sunny Sharma.
Hello.
Yes, Sunny.
Yes, sir.
Sunny, are you getting what I'm saying?
Hello.
Anji, Sunny. Sunny, now you tell what we have done today. Sunny, you must tell what we have done today. So I'm not getting your response, Sunny. There is Upendra. Upendra is there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Upendra.
Yes, sir.
So what we have done today?
Sir, we have learned about function-oriented software design.
Yes, little loud, little loud.
Sir, we have learned about function-oriented software
Very
design.
good. Next.
Next, sir, we have learned about
Can you name what is the another name for level 0 DFD?
no, sir.
You do not know what is level 0 DFD? There is Vasu Malik. I think it is Malik. Vasu is being shown. Yes, Vasu, you come to the screen. Vasu. I have asked you, Vasu Malik, to show your video also. Vasu Malik, I have given you the permission. Just unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Vasu. Are you getting me?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. What to Vasu? Sorry. What we say the level 0 DFD?
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, your voice is not audible to me, sir,
Yes.
clearly. Sir, I am not getting what you are saying.
I am
properly.
getting your voice very clearly.
Sir, can you repeat, sir? I am getting some
What
disturbance.
is the another name for level 0 DFD? Mridul Mahajan. Mridul Mahajan. You unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Mridul, what is another name for level 0 DFD?
Contest diagram.
Okay. And what is there another name for your SD output? What is the output product of SD software design? What that diagram is known as?
Sir, flow diagram.
No, it is not a flow diagram. I am talking about the structured design, not the structured analysis.
Software architecture.
Software architecture or the module structure.
Yes, sir.
Sarika is there. Sarika, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
So as today there is no poll, there is some technical problem from the Zoom itself. So I am just asking you the questions. Sarika, tell me what are the two basic processes of function-oriented design?
So structure analysis and structure design.
Structure analysis and structure design. So modules, the role of modules are spoken in structure analysis or design?
Or design.
Design. Okay. So give chance to some more student today to whom I haven't spoken earlier. IT, Simran Kaur from IT. Simran Kaur, just unmute. IT student Simran Kaur.
Yes, sir. Good
So,
morning, sir.
good afternoon or good morning. Tell me what you have, you can say, listen today, my lecture, in my lecture.
Yes, sir. Today we have done function-oriented software and
Okay. Function-oriented
data
software design.
design,
Okay.
data dictionary,
Okay.
and we have
We
done
go on to data dictionary. Before data dictionary, what we have done?
so essay,
and SD,
Okay.
software analysis and software design.
No, no, but it is not software. It is structured analysis and structured design.
Software structure design.
Okay. Next.
And then we have done level.
Okay.
Uh,
Whose level?
contact diagram. So level 1 DFD.
Okay. We started from level 1 DFD first, right? From level 1. We have started from level 1 DFD.
No, sir, level 0.
Level 0. What is another
Yes.
name for level 0?
So level 0 DFD, and it is also known as context diagram.
Okay.
And it shows data input to the system.
Okay. Main thing what it shows. What main thing is shown by the DFD?
So it represents data sources, data sinks.
Hmm. What are the different symbols used in DFD? Let me ask some other student. Ritik Dhunna. Ritik, unmute yourself. Ritik.
Yes, sir.
Ritik, what are the different symbols we used in DFD?
Yes, sir.
What are the different symbols we use in DFD? Different symbols we use in DFD. Yes, Ritik, tell me. Sujan Khadka, you tell me now. Unmute yourself, Sujan Khadka.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
Sujan.
sir.
You are Sujan or Sujan?
Susan.
Hello?
Susan, sir. Susan.
Sujan. Sujan, you tell me what are the different symbols that we use in DFD?
In DFD, we have used external entity, bubbles, data store, and data flow.
Okay. So, okay, students. So, this is all for today. So, in the next lecture, we will go for the object-oriented design. In next lecture, we will go for the object-oriented design. So, be ready for the next lecture. In the next lecture, we will complete the 50% of the syllabus and I will give you the assignment. Okay. Okay. Bye for today.